So today I'm just going to be ranting because honestly, I feel like they've lied to all of us about consistency. I actually don't even know where to start from, because when I started posting content about, I would say 2.5 years ago, one of the keywords that people were saying online, and I mean successful content creators, they kept on mentioning the fact that you have to stay consistent to get results. Yeah, I kind of agree with it, right? Because honestly, there's been some skill that I've been able to develop and master because I was consistent. I was always working on them and making sure that I improve on myself, right? And then by virtue of consistency and by virtue of the works in my portfolio, I was able to get contracts here, and I was even able to get jobs here and there. In fact, it helped me kickstart my business. So I get it when they say you have to be consistent, right? But my biggest challenge with, big influencers saying that you have to stay consistency is that they don't paint the dogged and rugged picture of consistency to individuals that they are influencing. Because to be very honest, consistency is not pretty, it's not exciting, it's not fun, it's very frustrating, right? If you stay consistent, even when you see that, oh my God, I've improved a lot, you are probably the only one saying that. Every other person that is following you, every other person that is engaging with your post, they probably don't notice. I mean, they might see some changes, but they probably don't notice, or they probably just don't care that you are improving. As long as you keep showing up and entertaining them, they don't care, right? But in sort of like audience building and customer acquisition and sort of like transacting business online, if you are not seeing growth, I can bet it with you that as the creator, you would always struggle to stay consistent, and it will take a whole lot of effort for you to be consistent. I get that, some people might not care and eventually quit, right? But one thing that stuck out to me, a couple of days ago is, what someone said, and I was just watching a random video, and the person said, when it comes to whatever you're doing and you've made your mind up to do that thing, you have to ensure that you keep at it and don't quit at sort of like the bottom of the mountain, right? So if you are even going to quit, make sure you quit when you are on top of the mountain. And quitting on top of the mountain means that when you're successful, that's when you should quit. Don't quit when you're still failing. Don't quit when you're still trying to figure it out, maybe in the middle of the mountain. Don't quit when you're probably making some traction, but it feels like it's not worth your time. Like they say, time is money. To me, I believe time is invaluable, right? Time is way worth more than money. If I'm offering you my time, I believe I'm offering you more than something that is worth more than money, essentially. So what I'm saying essentially is, when you're quitting, make sure you quit at the top of the mountain when you are already successful. And you should probably just quit when you probably have a different trajectory, yes, that's the word, a different sort of like business endeavor you are trying to go into, or a business, or you are trying to head towards another direction. But ensure that the direction that you are on, you are at least successful in that direction. So for me, let me just go back to my rant. I figured out that most times when all these big creators emphasize on staying consistent, making sure you stay on the course of your dream, they don't really emphasize the essential detail and nitty-gritty of being consistent. And I can give you several examples. In your quest for staying consistent, you would have sleepless nights. God, I can speak. You would lose friends. You wouldn't be able to go out and hang out with friends. Sometimes you won't even have time for your family, right? And this might sound all vague to you, but there are things that I personally have experienced, right? Even sometimes, especially when you don't have an editor as a creator and you don't have like an assistant, it's essentially or extremely difficult for you to keep up with tasks, right? So there is no sort of like closing hour for you. Basically, if you're still working in your job, by the time you go to your 9 to 5 and then you close at 5, you start editing videos from 5 p.m. till maybe around 11 p.m. or till the next morning, sometimes like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I've edited video up until 4 a.m. before, just because I wanted to ensure that the content goes out. Then when the content eventually goes out and then you post it in the public domain, you end up getting like a couple of views, like 100, 200, sometimes 50 views. I'm not even talking about likes. Likes is disgusting. God. Sometimes you might get 3 likes, 4 likes, 5 likes, sometimes 13 likes. And the question you would ask yourself is, why am I stressing myself to create all of this content that is supposed to be beneficial to people, that is valuable, that is funny, that is educative for people who don't care, right? You start to question your ability, you start to question your calling, you start to question God about why you are doing all of this. It's so painful, you are not seeing results. I mean, sometimes you post a video, it's your spouse, your partner that would be the first to like it, and then the rest are just maybe a couple of your friends that will like it. In fact, some of your friends might not even engage because they feel like it's cringe, and it's they feel they don't understand what you're doing. They will be like, some of them might even think that this one is trying to be famous. Why? What is it doing? Does he even know what it's saying? So all those things, the things that will get into your head, and you would want to question why you should stay consistent. I tell any of my friends, anybody that I have the opportunity to talk to about content creation, and the fact that you just have to get in the headspace of not caring about what the metrics is saying, what the algorithm is saying. Like I once heard another person say this, maybe I read in a book. The person said, no, I've forgotten, jeez. Don't run the rat race of catching up to the algorithm, right? See your page or your content as an archive, as a portfolio of your work, right? Don't get caught up in the fact that, oh, I'm not getting a bunch of likes, I'm not getting a bunch of views. See it as a place where you are documenting your life and putting it in an archive, right? Because, and I've probably said this in some of my other videos, the least you would be known is now. That's the honest truth, right? And the most interesting thing is that for every one person that is connected to you or that follows you, that engages with your post, even if they don't engage with your post, they know like 10 to 15 other people, within their network. So if we do 10 multiplied by 10 people, that's like a 100, right? So one person can connect to 10 person. Then if you have 10 friends, for example, 10 followers, for example, that means you have 110 people in your bank, right? They might not be connected to you directly, but those indirect connection is still a solid connection. And let me explain one of my experiences, right? Because I was so vocal about my graphic design skill, my web design skill. So when I left uni after my undergraduate degree, I didn't have a job. I was just working freelancing for people doing graphic design and all, right? But I was actively looking for a job at that point in time, right? All of a sudden, one day, one person that was connected to me, that was working for an organization, picked up her phone and called me, and she was like, yo, I know you can do X, Y, and Z. So my manager or the director of the business was having a conversation with me, and they said they needed someone with your skill. Are you available? Can you show up? Bro, I was excited. I went for the meeting and I negotiated. Now, because they were looking for someone, I negotiated my contracts with them. I had the upper hand because I had portfolios. I was able to show them the kind of thing I've been up to, or the kind of things I do rather, and what I've been up to in general. So they saw my work, and I explained to them that, hey, I don't want to be coming into your office. This was pre-COVID. This was like 2015-ish. I was like, I don't want to be coming to work, but anytime you need me to do something for you, pick the phone, call me, and I would get it done. That was the contract I had with them. So I had experience working from home pre-COVID. Like I didn't know what it was, and for some weird reason, I didn't even know why I suggested that, right? Because again, I'm very entrepreneurial, so it was just a no-brainer to me. I hated the fact that I have to commute to work every day, and this was back in Lagos, Nigeria. So, like I was saying, if you keep creating content, don't get tired. Don't lose your focus in what you're trying to achieve, right? One of the things that I used to ask myself is, what is my why? What is the reason why I'm doing all of this, right? And one thing that stands out is that I'm trying to create a better life for myself and my family. That is standard. So that is my why. So I would give it all it takes to create that life for my family. Do you get? And there is no, how will I put this now? There is no way I'm going to quit without achieving my goal. And I know that even if I'm not getting engagements the way I want the engagement to come, or if I'm not getting instant results, because I know I will eventually get results, I'm confident in God, or confidence in God. I can't speak God. I'm confident in God that I will eventually get results. I will eventually achieve what I want to achieve, right? I believe, one other thing that I believe is that God is molding me right now and is putting in the discipline that I need to achieve greater things, right? So imagine if God gives me, let's just put a number, $5 million today. I'll probably mismanage it because I don't know what it is to make that $5 million, right? I don't know the amount of sleepless night that I went through. Like if you don't know the value of a thing, you wouldn't appreciate it, right? And how would you essentially know the value of a thing, right? If you don't put in like a lot of effort into doing what is necessary to achieve the result that you are craving for, right? We can see from the Bible, and there are so many stories of people who stayed consistent, right, and stuck to their vision, right? Joseph is an example. That guy got sold into slavery by his own brothers, right? That challenge is crazy. He went to jail. It was just, from the prison, God single-handedly, pull him out. And his pulling out is very funny, right? Joseph was a master dream interpreter. That's how I would describe it, in the prison. So he was creating the content of helping people interpret their dreams and visions whilst he was in the prison. He didn't look at the situation of his surrounding. He ensured that he made the best use of the opportunity he had in his surroundings. And what are those opportunities? Of people conversing with him and telling him about their dreams, and then he's interpreting it for them for free. Because I'm sure he didn't, maybe, I don't know what prison was like in their age and time, right? But I guess he must have been doing it for free. And then that probably caused one of the guards to notice him, right? And when the king had a terrible dream and he needed an interpretation for that dream, and he was asking people in his palace, I'm sure one of the prison guards must have walked in randomly and heard that the king was looking for someone that can interpret dream. And that's how Joseph got the opportunity to be placed before the king, right? Even the Bible also said, "See thou a man that is diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings and not mere men." If you want to stand before king, you have to do the work. There is no two ways about it. There is no shortcut, right? People get successful by God's grace too, like quickly, right? But we are not equal. That's the honest truth. We can't achieve success the same way another man has achieved their own success. That's the truth. But the constant thing is that God wants us to be prosperous and be in good health. And your definition of prosperity might be different from my own, right? My own is going to be different from yours, So, but what is constant is that at least God wants us to be prosperous. So I believe everyone should be craving to enjoy God's prosperity. Because again, what is the essence of life if you don't get to enjoy, the prosperity that God has promised us? You see? So in order for us to be prosperous, we have to put the work in. We have to put the work in, no matter what it takes, and we have to keep going without quitting. I know they say be consistent. I know they say it vaguely, but honestly, they are right. but I'm just annoyed and angry that you're not like fully putting flesh to it. It takes a lot of work. It takes, a lot of grind to eventually achieve success. Even in fact, Daniel in the Bible as well, he proposed in his heart not to eat the king's meat. Do you know what it takes for you to be seeing chicken, beef, laid in front of you, and then you're struggling not to eat it? You just stick to, oh, I want to eat vegetables. I know that there are vegetarians now, but back then it was different, right? And he was disciplined and he stayed consistent. And God set him apart, right? Different transformation happened to him. So my point is, be consistent, but I want you to know that consistency is not a joy ride. It's not a jolly ride. It's not a sweet experience. Consistency is a brutal experience, right? For you to refine gold and for you to achieve gold as the end result of mining gold and all of those things, it has to go through fire, right? The gold has to go through fire. So that's the way I like to think about consistency. That's okay, I'm going through all of this pain right now because God is refining me, right? He's refining me. He's shedding off bad habits away from my life, and is embedding new habits, right? In order to achieve mastery, you have to practice consistency. And what is consistency? Is the repetition of a task over and over and over and again, and then you achieve mastery when it becomes like your second nature, right? I used to jokingly say this to my friend that, I can design a logo for you under 5 minutes, but it took me an average of 8 to 10 years to do it for you, right? Now I can do it in 5 minutes, but I've been learning, graphic design for the last, say, 10 years. You see, I don't believe there is anybody that is a master at anything right now that would tell you they became a master overnight. They've practiced, they've watched other people, they've hearkened to the voices of coaches, they've had sleepless nights, they've even spent some time away from their family. I'm not saying you should not spend time with your family, but I'm just saying that in order for you to achieve or to attain mastery, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. And that's where consistency comes in. No matter what it is, don't quit. To be very honest, at some point, I wanted to quit content creation because I wasn't seeing results, right? But at the end of the day, I asked myself, what's the worst that can happen, right? The worst is I don't get new followers. I don't get any monetary value from it. But the most important thing to me is, at least I have tried, right? And I'm telling you, I'm not going to quit. Maybe I will quit on top of the mountain, but right now, I don't believe I'm going to quit content creation, right? Maybe I might switch from platform to platform, but I would always create something. In fact, the way my mind is wired to always be a creator, right from childhood. Like, as a child, I used to hate the fact that I can't draw. And when I see some of my talented friends back then in like my elementary school drawing, I pick up the pencil and try to draw like them, and try to ensure that, I create as they are creating, just to practice. Well, I didn't have any sort of like guidance over there, but, as I was growing and I entered into what we call secondary school in Africa, I find myself in art classes and technical drawing classes, building construction classes. So anything that has to do with me creating something, you would always find me there. And that's been my mentality right from childhood. So I think creating online is something I would keep on doing for the rest of my life. I'm just angry that people don't, or people didn't. Now, I'm not blaming them, but I'm just saying that I'm just angry that, when it comes to content creation, every other thing I think I'm good, but when it comes to the aspect of, content creation and getting the result that you desire online, nobody told me the pain that I would go through in order to achieve my results. And now that I'm 2 years deep into it, I feel like I'm now getting the hang of it. I don't, like I said before, I don't think I'm going to quit anymore, right? I was telling one of my friends this week, and we were having a conversation about content creation and all. And she was expressing to me that it's frustrating, she's tired, and I was trying to just encourage her the same way I'm talking right now. And I'm like, we just have to keep going. That's me. I've just made up my mind not to quit. And she was like, yeah, she gets it. That I now mentioned a couple of things to, I'm like, since you've been creating, have you ever sold a product? She said, yeah, countless. I'm like, you see? So you see that the followers does not count, the engagement does not count. Have you ever made new connections? He said, yeah. I'm like, that's a result for you, right? The other thing is, when you are a creator, you shouldn't also measure your success by numbers. Measure your success by I feel like the way I measure my own success is the amount of interactions I get in both my comments and my DMs. That's how I measure success, right? So if, for example, I'm posting like an educational post, as long as I get 1 or 2 comments, I'm fine, minus my wife anyways. As far as I get comments or DMs about what I'm doing, right, I'm good to go, right? But one thing that I know that God has shown me in the last 2.5 years is that there is like several opportunities that is available to creators online, and I've experienced it. I've made some connection that I wouldn't have been able to make if I wasn't posting content online. I've gotten businesses. I've even on like the social media pages of my other business, I've been able to get people to engage with our business from social media, not even Google ads. And honestly, I even hate running ads because I feel like ads are not as effective as organic posts, and that's the truth. Because the way I feel about ads when I see them is someone trying to force their products on me. But when people find you organically, it's easier for you to sell to them, if you get what I mean. It's easier for you to convince them to engage with you in business. But if someone finds me like on an ad, as an example, they would first of all distrust me because people hate being sold to, right? So, but what your social media does for you is it makes selling easy for you. Like, people feel like they know you even before they meet you physically. That's the point of social media, right? So it's, for me, creating is just a joyous thing for me to do, and the process or the fact that I have to stay consistent is not a challenge for me right now. It was a challenge for me maybe a year ago when I wanted the instant gratification, and honestly, a year and a half ago it was easier to grow. If I had known what I know today, I would have probably grown faster 1.5 years ago. Now it's insane. It's very, very difficult to grow your platform or to essentially go viral, right? But the thing is, because I've gone through the phase of extreme hard work, posting every day, I've developed some sort of like mastery when it comes to the quality of my content. Let me put it that way. Don't let me say I've mastered the social growth on social media. Right now I'm trying to learn social media growth, but now I've been able to finesse and hack my look and feel, right? I can curate my content, right? There are things that I've learned in the last 2 years that I didn't know the first 3 months, even though I thought I knew, but I didn't know, right? Now I can answer anybody's question when it comes to content creation, and when it comes to what gear you need, how do you do your sound design, how do you edit, all of those details are the things that I can basically answer as an expert right now, because to be very honest with you, I think I edit every day now. I don't post every day. I edit every day or every other day. If I'm not editing my personal page post, I'm editing my business page post, either doing something for my church or doing something for a friend or a family member. There's always something I'm doing every day. As I am today, I posted yesterday. I wasn't going to post today. I was just listening to an old song that I've used in my post before, and I got inspired to create another post. Right? That's not the first time it happens to me a lot. When I listen to a song, I think about the post, but now I'm going to reuse like some older videos to create the post, but it doesn't really matter because some people might not even notice that I'm doing that. Anyways, I digress. I'm just here to encourage you to keep going, right? The race is not to the swift, right? Also, the Bible said there's the concept of the first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Do you know why I'm grateful to God that I'm still on this journey and I've not given up? Because I understand this life. Like right now, 5 years ago, people that started posting like I'm doing right now didn't grow until maybe this year or last year, right? But there are people that were extremely popular last year that are no longer popular today. There are people, in fact, I know a lot of celebrities 5 years ago, 4 years ago that I can't find online anymore. So the thing is, what if God has even given me the popularity then? Maybe right now I wouldn't even be doing what I'm doing. You get my point? Maybe I would have, landed myself within like the wrong set of people, and then I would have gone astray. Maybe God was trying to protect me from some certain things. That's why I wasn't exposed to the idea. Although some of those things was due to inferiority complex, due to limiting beliefs, due to the fact that I wasn't confident about the way I speak, about my intonation, But again, when I finally made the decision, I'm glad I made the decision to start. I'm glad I made the decision to keep going. I'm glad I made the decision to stay consistent, to keep posting. I'm also glad for like my couple of friends. They are nice people. They keep encouraging me to just keep going and not quit on my dreams, sort of like desire. So again, I encourage you to stay consistent so you can achieve mastery, right? Once you achieve mastery, your blessing is promised. Stay blessed.